better. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons.
Welcome back to Two Dudes Watch Cartoons, the podcast where two dudes, that's us, watch cartoons. My name's Evan.
And my name is Alex, and today we got fresh off the presses, brand new movie coming at ya. Not every day we cover something, well, actually, we just did Bob's Burgers, but not every day we do something so fresh. Today we are covering Disney Pixar's Lightyear. The long-awaited sequel, reboot, I don't even know what to call this. Continuation?
Spin-off, probably.
Spin-off?
Yeah.
Spin-off. That's probably the best way to put it. Okay. And with us today, we have my amazing girlfriend, Nikki Rodriguez. Nikki, how are you doing? How are you today?
Thank you for that lovely introduction. I am doing great. I'm so excited to talk about Lightyear. I am your fellow Pixar fanatic over here. I have seen most films, not every Pixar film, but most of them at least thrice, if not more. So I'm very excited to talk about today's movie.
Before we dig into Buzz Lightyear, the new movie, you guys are also exploring a new frontier. You just moved into a new place. How has the move been?
Yeah, we are podcasting in our respective offices.
In different
we are
rooms, yes.
literally right next to each other. I could run through this door right here, and actually it might be the other one, but
No, it's the other one that's not in the camera.
Shoot, yeah. I was gonna say, dang it, got it turned around. The move's been good, slow and steady. We're getting there. We feel like real adults finally, and things are good.
And I'm using my new microphone, so that is why we are in different rooms recording this in the same house. So I'm
Sounds
very
crisp.
excited about this.
Deity, Nikki has a new microphone.
Not a deity microphone, Polar,
Deity, hook
but
us up with one more.
yeah, if you just give us one more, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I already have a
please.
boom and everything, so wink, wink, hint, hint.
I'm excited to talk about this one. So like we said earlier, this is a spin-off, which
It's
apparently
unique.
people have trouble wrapping their heads around.
No,
This
Which
is
is so-
oddly
understand.
contentious.
So
There's
weird.
some backlash. Yeah, Nikki, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've been hearing about the movie, what you've been
So-
seeing on Twitter?
Yeah, so I'm going to be completely upfront. I have not really been reading any reviews about this movie. I wanted to go in completely blind to it. I didn't want to spoil myself and see what certain critics or how many percentage on Rotten Tomatoes it has, that kind of thing, because I'm a huge, huge Pixar lover. I'm a big Disney lover in general, especially the Toy Story franchise. So I was very excited when I first found out about this film. Like, you can ask Alex, way over a year ago when we first saw the trailer or the teaser trailer, I would say, I was like, oh my God, we have to see this movie. And I really want to be on the podcast for this. So here we are. I just, I haven't really read too much about what people are saying, but it kind of does not really surprise me that people are very confused about what this movie is about. I can see where people are coming from because there's a lot of, let's just say, not so smart people in this country or in this world.
No,
Like,
I don't
like
get
how?
that. Shut up and enjoy it.
Exactly.
I don't understand what's going on here. Is he a toy? Shut up. Are you kidding me?
It's the backstory of the character. No, Andy, none of the other
Ready
toys.
for this? Who cares? Why do you need the backstory? Just enjoy it. I'm so confused when I see this critique online. I literally can't wrap my head around it because who cares? Who gives a
Just go
shit?
see it.
I would have been happy about it if the
Yeah.
ending was actually Andy playing with Buzz and the Zurg robot, and it was all like a Super Smash Bros. Like he was just playing that out in his room. If that was the film, would have been fine. I wouldn't have given a shit. Would have been still just as good. That is such a weird complaint to me. But so what this is, and I feel like it's not a complicated, but it's the movie based on the toy that Andy got. Like, as we know, movie franchises pump out toys. So in the Toy Story universe, this movie did just that. It was like a successful Star Wars-like film, and Buzz is just an action figure. The Buzz we know from Toy Story is just an action figure.
And
Based on
Andy
this
got
movie.
him as a birthday present in the first film,
Yeah.
like immediately as part of the plot, and he had to acclimate himself with the rest of the toys.
You don't need to know diddly about Toy Story though to watch this film.
Correct.
Like, this is what I'm saying
True.
is like, who cares? Like, it was
Yeah.
such a good film on its own. I don't think you need any. I don't even think about Toy Story when I think about this movie anymore, if that makes sense. Obviously, that was like what got me into it and got the appeal. I think what I said to Nikki is this is so fresh because it's not a reboot. It's not a spin-off. This is just like repurposing intellectual property. Like, they told a damn
Yes.
good story and they were like, who's a popular character? They're like, oh, Buzz Lightyear. Oh, this is great.
Yeah,
Love it.
and
Sorry.
different actor as well, too, like Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear, which is actually one of the points I wanted to make. I think it is so iconic for Chris Evans to take the role on Buzz Lightyear because Chris Evans, he is a huge actor. He is A-list. He is Captain America. He's also America's sweetheart, in my opinion. He's adorable.
America's ass.
America's ass, yeah.
America's ass. But, you know, the original voice of Buzz Lightyear, Tim Allen, when Toy Story first came out in the 90s, Tim Allen was also really big at the time, you know, with Home Improvement and the Santa Claus movies coming out at the time. He was also a very well-known big actor. So it makes sense for them to have another big, well-known actor play the role of Buzz. And it's like Chris Evans took on the reins of this role with pride. And, you know, he sounded kind of similar to him as well.
I was surprised. Just initial impression when I saw the first trailers come out, I was like, I don't think I could have placed the voice right away, but Chris Evans does kind of, his voice is just as deep as Tim Allen. He could probably take over Pure Michigan ad campaigns if he wanted to, for all the Michiganders listening. But yeah, the criticism is strange. So if you haven't seen it on Twitter, there's been some light backlash, like there is with any mega franchise. A lot of Disney,
course.
Marvel stuff now. There's just some swath of a fan base or a fandom that
crazy.
can't get over the fact that these movies are for children and that they're just grown ass fucking adults, and just get over
Can't
it. Like,
take anything too seriously.
yeah, your 4-year-old, your 6-year-old won't give a shit that this
They're not
is
gonna
not
care.
voiced
They're
by Tim
also
Allen.
exactly, and also like when you're seeing this movie as a 6-year-old, you're seeing it from a 6-year-old lens and point of view, and a lot of things are gonna go over your head, just like it did for all of us as kids. And one day, those kids are gonna rewatch this film years later and be like, "Oh my god, I totally missed that," or "I didn't even think
Okay.
about what this would have meant." I don't know.
This movie, though, didn't even feel like a kid's movie. Was this aimed at a kid's
It did
audience? Was this aimed at a kid's audience? I'm genuinely wondering, was this actually a Pixar film just aimed at us? Or would kids enjoy this? Yeah, I guess kids got to
think
enjoy
so.
this. But like, holy shit, this film held nothing back, I felt like. Like, this was not like a Pixar film I feel like I've ever seen before. And granted, Pixar is known for being unique and different, which is one thing I really appreciate about them. But once again, this just felt like nothing I've ever seen from Pixar before, and I loved it.
And we were also like, there was no kids in the theater. There was all adults.
I don't think there was a single kid in our theater.
There were only kids in my theater. I also
Well, I
went.
guess it depends on what time you went to go see the movie, though. We went at
went-
like 7 p.m. on a Sunday.
I went on a Sunday as well, but at 10 a.m. First
Yeah, okay,
There you
showing.
go.
Only solo person in the theater. You know, I'm pretty comfortable with doing things on my own. For a while, Haley and I dated long distance, so like I went to movies and ate at restaurants on my own all the
Oh, I
time.
love
but,
going to movies on my own.
but being at a movie at 10 a.m. when it is just like 2 to 3 other families with their young children and me
It's weird.
sitting in the back row, I was getting side-eyed in the popcorn line. It was.
What are you
I felt
doing here?
self-conscious.
You're like, it's for a podcast, I promise. Like, I don't care about your kids.
Yeah.
It's the only time available when I can do this.
So just speaking of the theater experience, Nikki and I had a guy in our theater that would laugh 1 second before the whole audience. But it was good. It was good. He would like start the audience laugh, and he had such a deep belly laugh. So like right when something was funny, you just hear, oh, and you're like, ah! Like, it was good. It was like one guy trying to start the wave in the theater, and he was able to do it. So that was our movie going experience. Sorry, it wasn't the same as yours, Evan.
That's okay. That's okay. So I only want to bring up the backlash because for anyone who's listening to this pod, who's considering going to see this movie, one, we are going to get into spoilers. So maybe pause the episode. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
I recommend.
And I only bring it up because keep an
Highly
open mind.
recommend
This is a perfectly great, fun movie going experience. Just keep an open mind. Ignore whatever Tim Allen diehard fans are like trashing Chris Evans for
The Tim
for some
Allen
reason.
stands.
Yeah.
The Tim Allen stands.
So we've hit on kind of a lot of the plot or like spoiler free stuff. I would say my last recommendation, if you have not seen this movie and you're still listening, if you have any memory of Star Wars, not Star Wars, I'm so sorry. This movie kind of reminded me of a Star Wars film. If you have any memory of Toy Story as a child, this film will excite you because one, it is just like a good film with a good plot, good story, and like emotional stakes. And two, just like seeing the character of Buzz Lightyear actually in action is just so rewarding for all these years of when he was a real goon because he was taking stuff so seriously in Andy's bedroom. He's an actual action star now. And like,
Space
I'm in love
Ranger.
with, he's a goddamn space ranger.
Yeah.
All right, but let's get into the movie itself.
Before we do, this movie so far, again, I'm just here as like, I'm trying to champion this movie. Right now, headlines are already saying, oh, it's disappointed domestically, box office. It just opened. It made $51 million opening weekend. Didn't dethrone Jurassic World Park Dominion, whatever it's called. So people are saying, oh, it's not meeting the forecast. It's a disappointment, blah, blah, blah. Go see the movie. It's fun.
Yeah, go watch it. It's a beautiful film, and as a fellow the Toy Story franchise is my favorite franchise of the entire Pixar universe, and I got a lot of the nostalgic factor to it, and also I would say this is also a movie where you don't have to have seen the prior 4 Toy Story movies to understand it.
Not at all. I totally agree. Okay, now let's get into a little bit of the plot. Just starting with our main characters, Buzz Lightyear, voiced by Chris Evans. What I really liked about this movie is it took so many different elements of sci-fi and it just kind of threw us in the middle of it. So here's my best guess of how we start. They have about 100 to 200 people cryogenically frozen on a spaceship. And I'm assuming the Earth is destroyed and they are looking for a new home.
Yeah, they don't really touch on that, like why they're all on that spaceship or anything.
No,
It's
I love that they don't touch on it.
Continuation. It's spiritual successor to Netflix's Don't Look Up. It's the same shit. If you didn't
I
know.
was thinking that. I was just thinking
That's
that
what they're
right
doing,
now.
though.
I was like,
But that's literally what they're doing. So, and then Buzz has to wake up because he gets woken up because there is a planet, like the autopilot has a decision to make, so it has to wake up a human. Do we want to go explore this planet or do we want to keep going? And of course they wake up the stud Chris Evans, Buzz Lightyear.
Do you think you could handle that amount of pressure? Deciding the fate of humanity? If you were
he was so casual about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He was very
he
casual.
was like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
You know what? This decision snowballs into the whole series of events that we have. No, I would not be a space ranger, clearly, or at least not like the head of the space rangers, because hell no, what am I deciding on this planet? Did he get stats? Like air? No, I guess not, because he had to go explore.
No, he has to go find them.
Yeah, he's just the sense of adventure. He's been cryogenically sleeping, and he's like, time to stretch these legs. Whereas I'm like, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah, like send me a status report when you're done. Like I'll find out later.
Pass. We'll go to the next one. I go back to bed. But I love this. Like I said, they don't explain it. It's just a great sci-fi element. So he gets there, and they wake up to space. Him and his partner, Nikki. Why don't you tell us a little bit about his partner, Alicia?
Alicia Hawthorne. I wouldn't say she's not just his colleague, but also like his mentor, friend, his partner in crime almost. Like they're both on this adventure together, and they're both kind of like, yeah, let's check out this other planet and see what's going on. Like he's not in this adventure alone. Like he's got to have someone with him. And it was great. It was really cool to see their dynamic within them. One really quick thing I want to point out that I have in my notes. I don't know if you guys noticed this. I noticed this immediately, and I tapped on Alex in the movie theater about it. The first line that he says right when he gets off that ship onto that new planet was, "There seems to be no sign of intelligent life here." And that was the same exact quote that he said in the first Toy Story movie, right after Andy put him on his bed and he wakes up for the first time as a toy. He said, there seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere, talking to his, what is it, mission control people, like on his wrist.
His log.
And I just thought that was a really cool Easter egg, I would say, from Toy Story in there. I thought it was super cute.
Yeah, it's a nice callback. I think he even says something along the lines of the terrain seems unstable or something, which is what he says when he's bouncing on the bed. It's those kind of subtle callbacks that, I'm sorry, I think the critics are too dumb to pick up on. People who wanted it to be Tim Allen.
Who wanted it to be Tim Allen?
Apparently a lot of people.
This is crazy. Chris Evans is so much better.
A very vocal.
And I'm pretty sure after the fourth Toy Story movie ended, Tim Allen was like, "I'm retiring this role." Like if I'm not quoting this from anywhere, but I'm sure both him and Tom Hanks were like, "This is the end of an era. This has been 20 years in the making."
I hope not. We have our Woody pitch.
Well, so I was reading a little bit of the production notes. Toy Story 4 was supposed to be the last installment of the main Toy Story franchise. Tom Hanks, I think, retired the role. I think Tim Allen, and maybe this is where some of it comes from, is Tim Allen was like, yeah, I'd voice him again for, whatever. I don't see why I wouldn't. But I don't think he was also chomping at the bit, like, I haven't checked his Twitter.
Love Home Improvement. So maybe I am like, there's people who are like, Tim Allen or bust. I didn't even, like you said, you can't even notice the difference unless you go on IMDb. I swear to God, he sounds just like him.
Yeah, he did a really great job filling in those shoes.
Alicia Hawthorne is voiced by Uzo Aduba from Orange is the New Black.
She's Crazy Eyes.
Two-time Emmy winner too.
For that role?
Yeah. Yeah, for that role. Mm-hmm.
She's a legend. Cool. She was like half the reason Orange is the New Black is really good. Yeah. I think what Pixar does great here is they set up these two just as like the best of buds. Like I don't even know. They're partners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They set that up so well and so quickly. Pixar, I've noticed, is so good at raising the emotional stakes. They go 0 to 60 so goddamn fast with these people. It's nuts. The other comparison I have is Up. I noticed the way they did this one had a similar structure to Up, where they were just like rug pulled out from underneath you right out of the start.
First 10 minutes, I expected the man out of time bit because they explore that a little bit in the trailers, which I think is interesting that in both the Marvel franchise and in as Lightyear, Chris Evans plays the man out of time, which is like a story trope that I just fucking love for some reason. I don't know why. It's so, it just gets my heart going. But within the first 10 minutes ish of the movie, they do a classic Pixar tug on your heartstrings montage. So Alex, do you want to set up a little bit of the premise? So they land on the new world. A little more
of the plot.
Yeah.
They're exploring the planet, chopping down vines. They quickly realize the vegetation and the bugs on this planet, no go. We can't fucking live here.
They are dangerous as fuck.
Hell yeah. So they're like, get back to the turnip, which is what they call their spaceship. And they're like, it's not a turnip. I love the humor in this movie. This is what I'm saying is they kept the stakes high and like they kept the action fast pace. They still made me laugh. This is a classic action comedy movie. Like, so
sci-fi
they're like
comedy.
They're running back to the turnip, and the vines are overtaking the turnip. And this is even more quicker than the first 10 minutes. This is the first freaking 3 to 5 minutes of the movie. Is they need to get off the planet as quickly as possible because these vines are undertaking them. And Buzz, first off, it takes the autopilot, and at one point he like blows in it like it's a Nintendo cartridge. Classic joke. And like they didn't spend too much time on it. He just did it. And I was like, yes. And so he's got the autopilot.
Because this movie was is from the 90s, quote unquote.
I know.
Beautiful touch. Beautiful touch.
Amazing touch. But this scene is so good where he's like trying to get the turnip off the planet manually. And they're like, you're going to crash into this. And it's a real never tell me the odds moment. And you're like, hell yeah. And you're like, he's going to do it. And he just barely nicks the ship on this huge cliff when it looked like he was going to be total disaster. And you're like, oh, I think he did it still. Nope. This thing comes crashing down. And this is what really starts the whole thing is they're all now stranded on this planet that is not very inhabitable for them.
And they cannot leave, and they don't have really a plan set in place to leave right away.
Mm-hmm.
And so, once again, first 5 minutes of the film, this is like so much of what Buzz Lightyear, the character in this movie, is about, is this mistake that he made right here. Oh, we missed the whole part where he's like crapping on rookies. He didn't want the rookie to come.
Guess who voices the rookie?
Who is it?
Bill Hader.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Bill Hader voiced
I
the
didn't
rookie?
realize it. I just saw this in like a YouTube video I was watching a couple minutes ago.
I thought it might be him, but when it wasn't a bigger role, I was like, no way, it's him. That's so funny, though. I love Bill Hader.
That's cute. I love
But so he's
that.
crapping on the rookie because rookies make mistakes. He can just do it himself and get it right the first time. But no, his one mistake is what causes them all to be stranded and stuck there. Oh, it's so good. Okay, it just plays.
Essentially, he feels like he just ruined their lives. You know, he ruined the would-be mission, you know? Like, they were all... I assume they all probably woke up from their chambers because it was just him and Alicia who were awake. And imagine that. Like, you're waking up from your chamber and you're stuck on this you're stranded on this planet no one's ever been before, and it's dangerous and kind of uninhabitable. So what do you do? Like, that's a pretty high-stakes, scary situation.
All right, I have a question for you. Just because we didn't see in the movie anyone, like, crapping on Buzz or, like, talking behind his back that he's the reason they're there. But just because we all know how, like, groups of people are, you guys think there was people who were like, God damn it, Buzz. They were, like, talking behind his back?
For sure.
I'm sure, but also the kind of vibe that I got from the film was that Buzz was a well-respected man in the Space Ranger program.
It's true.
So I'm sure they all kind of were bummed about the situation, but maybe were like, you know, he had good intentions behind him. Like, we landed on this planet because we wanted to see if it might be fit for a new home. Who knows? Like, we all trust him, and you know, he's pretty high rank. Has a high ranking in the program, and you know, it's probably the kind of situation where it's like, yeah, I'm bummed, but I respect him, and I still respect him in a way.
I would have been pissed.
There's like a science crew. It's very much like a Star Trek, where I think the whole purpose of this vessel is to go explore. That being said, that means it's a workplace environment, so you know people are talking shit at the water cooler.
There's emails. They were like, well, you know, you wouldn't have to deal with the bugs if it wasn't for you know who. Like,
yeah, that's true.
So this is the primary driver for Buzz for the rest of the movie, is this failure that haunts him. That he has to set right. You gotta finish the mission.
And that's what him and Alicia talked about, too, when he was just kind of sulking in his sadness after everybody was kind of exploring a little bit. She told him, it's going to be okay. We're going to fix it. And then he's like, no, we're not. I'm going to retire, you know, or I'm not going to retire. I'm going to resign.
Said, throw me in the brig.
He court-martials himself.
He court-martialed himself. Goes, throw me in the brig.
Yeah, I mean, he took off his name. He took off his name tag and his spacesuit, and he was like, I am resigning.
I loved how throughout the movie, that was like the most dramatic action, was just like removing your name tag. You're like, dishonor to my uniform. Like, and they never mention it, but you just pick up on these things.
Yeah, but it was cute to see him and Alicia's dynamic in that, like, hey, we're in this together. We're on a new mission now. Our mission is to get off this planet or try to find the fuel to, what was it, going high speed?
Light speed.
Light speed. Yeah, light speed to get out of this planet.
They broke their hyperdrive fuel crystallic fusion, whatever it's called. And so they have no way off planet. And so they spend the next couple of years trying to build or rebuild this fuel source that they're going to test out. And this is, we're entering the second act of the movie, maybe, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, the first act is so quick, though, it's hard to really say, like, this is the second act. But yeah, they spend about a year.
This is probably still the first act out of, yeah, I don't know. Let's not divide it up.
It's just a really good story. So I get what you're saying and how you want to fragment it, but it's like a book. There's like chapters, and like any great sci-fi, it's told over a long period of time. And that's where sci-fi is really great, because you see like consequences of actions. You know what I mean? And so there's like a clear cause and effect of everything.
We're still very early in the movie. And so let me rephrase. We cover a long period of time in maybe a 2-minute montage as they start testing this fuel source to try and reach light speed or hyperdrive or whatever the fuck it's called.
The first time he goes on that trip, though, and he's gonna miss the slowdown rings, that shit had me on the edge of my seat.
Yes.
And I'm not kidding. Like we said, this is like 10, 15 minutes into the movie. And I was just like, he's gonna die. I literally was like, our main character's about to die. And he comes up with the most ingenious MacGyver way to explode himself into it. Oh, just chef's kiss. I'm sure that, no, I'm not going to say, I was going to say, I bet that's better than any Top Gun dogfight they had, but I don't want to crap on that movie. I haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
I'm going to see it eventually.
I don't
need to see it.
Maybe
right
when
now.
it comes out on streaming.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why some people didn't see it in the theaters this year. Or
They're just
this
waiting
weekend.
for it to come
Maybe
to
they're
streaming.
just waiting for it to come out on Disney Plus or something.
But okay, so this is the other thing about Lightyear in Pixar movies recently. This is the first Pixar movie to be released in theaters since Onward in 2020. Soul was Disney Plus only. Turning Red was Disney Plus only. Luca was only Disney Plus only. So I don't know. I hope Disney does not see this as an indicator, or they,
because I want them to make more films like this. They should not be afraid to do something like this, because this was great. I would much rather see this. Like, we obviously had this talk a ton during Chippendale, the reboot, the bring back, or whatever you want to call it. I need something creative if you're going to be shoving the same intellectual property down my throat. And this was very damn creative in like a lot of great ways. This was just a great sci-fi film.
And also, going along that, sci-fi films, in my opinion, are the best seen in the theaters on the big screen.
Yes.
Like right in front of your face. Your phone is not bothering you. Like, this is the kind of movie to see in theaters. And so I think that's why they were like, we're releasing this in theaters versus just Disney Plus for the past couple Pixar movies that they've released in the past couple years, because it has been a crazy past couple years. But in my opinion, I loved the film, as you can already tell, but I turned to Alex immediately after the credits. I'm like, that was the best Pixar film that's come out in the past couple years.
Yes.
This has been my favorite. And I'm not just saying that as a biased individual who just loves the character and Toy Story in general. So, maybe it's just the experience of seeing it in the movie theaters that changed it, but just also sci-fi films. We all can agree. Like, there's nothing like seeing it in the theaters.
Yeah. So this is a great sci-fi film. I would say go into this with the mindset that this is a sci-fi film, not a Pixar. Remove the Pixar attachment to it, and I think you'll enjoy this movie a lot more. The spaceship testing scene, the first test he does when he's going off course and has to do all the tomfoolery with his spaceship to get himself back on course. You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of Interstellar. This movie is Interstellar for kids in a digestible, lighthearted way, but hits on some of the same themes. And so the testing, he finds out that getting close to hyperdrive,
make me stay. Sorry.
Yes, it distorts time outside of, or it distorts the passage of time of how he experiences it. So when he lands back on whatever this planet is, 4 years have passed.
And he's only aged 4 minutes.
He's not pissed. Most people would be like, what the fuck? I missed 4 years.
He's just ready to go back.
He's ready to go back because he's the reason they're there. If any, and his partner's like, no, we're calling it off. You're not going to spend another 4 years gone just so we can test this. And he was like, what else are we going to do? Oh, he's just, it's Captain America in space. It's now that I'm talking about it, it's so Captain America. He'll do what he needs to for the mission. Self-sacrifice over those around him suffering. Oh my God.
So from the trailer, I knew there was going to be a passage of time. Except I thought it would be like an Interstellar or
An accidental.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be one big leap. But no, this is very early in the movie. He does multiple tests runs. And so through this
at his
musical
own free
montage,
will.
and he chooses to do it. Yes. And so we go through 60 years of him going in 4-year increments. He watches his friend Alicia age,
grow up, and she gets old. And this is the part where Pixar really brings the emotions in, because you can tell that he on one hand wants to get this mission done. He wants to figure out the problem. He wants to solve it. He wants to get everybody back home or wherever. But at the same time, you can see that sadness in him where he's like, I'm missing everything that's going on in her life. Like, she got engaged, she got married, she was pregnant, she had a baby, that baby grew up, that baby got married as well, and then she celebrated her 40th anniversary with her wife, which let's get into the LGBT inclusion in this Pixar film for a little bit later in this episode. But she was missing her entire life, and they were not just colleagues, but they were good friends. And you can just see the heartbreak in his face when he opens up her office and she's gone.
I was getting choked up during that montage, and I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm sold on this movie. You got me basically to tears. I'm here for the rest of the movie. No qualms. No, I'm not going to keep my guard up. I'm just going to experience and enjoy this movie. I have some notes, but I really didn't watch this with a critical eye. It was just a good movie-going experience.
It was so enjoyable, but like you said, this really let your guard down right out of the gate. It was such an emotional scene, but it was so well done because it wasn't like, why is he doing this? It's so weird that he would take so many trips at his own free will and accord. No. We just learned why. It's his mistake. He feels guilt. He needs to fix his mistake at all costs. And it means if he's going to be the one who doesn't get to experience this life here, that's okay with him. And so he really adopts this finish the mission at all costs mentality, because at this point he's like missed out on his man out of time. Man, I love, like you said, Evan, it's such a good trope. And so he misses 60 years of his best friend. It is emotional, like even recanting it, talking about it.
It's very similar to the montage in Up, where we go through the couple's whole life together.
Yep.
Don't even get me started on Up. I'm just going to start crying.
It ends with Alicia Hawthorne. She's not there to greet him the last time.
And you know what? You know it's coming, but still, it just was like so emotional when he opens that door, because they were in a real good groove of the montage, like door open, car, back home, door open, car, back home. And when he opens the door and she's not there, and you feel your heart skip that beat, almost like the rhythm of the movie had been building, and then, beat skip, and you're like, oh no, of course she's no longer with us. And she leaves him a nice like video hologram. And
that was really sweet.
The goodbye's so cute, and her granddaughter gets in it at the end, and she's like, Buzz the Space Ranger. And what's so cute about the whole thing is she goes, yeah, he's going to be the one to save us all. And it's, I get emotional just saying it. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, that, oh my God, that's like what Buzz needs to hear, but it also just is so depressing at the same time because he's missed out on so much. He missed out on everything. Oh my God, I can't even.
Entire life.
If he had not gone on all those missions, he would have joined in with her on that life, and they would have done the rest of their work together, because you can clearly see that Alicia has accepted that we're gonna be here forever. Like, I might as well just make a life here. And Buzz, that was one thing Buzz couldn't accept because that was his mistake, like we have mentioned, and he wanted to fix it. And he's like, he always felt responsible that he needed to be the one to fix the problem and finish the mission, and he was willing to sacrifice everything.
And so that's one thing Buzz misses in all his time skips, is that the people that have been living there decide, we don't want to go anymore. We're just going to stay here. We've created a life, and we think we have a laser shield. I do like I said, like this movie managed to make you laugh at times you didn't think you could laugh. It's Disney's really good about that. That was one thing I really praised about Avengers back in the day, is I was like, man, they'll have these great action sequences, but they still make me laugh right in the middle. So that is like right up Disney's alley.
One part, really quick, I just want to interject about like the humor within that montage when Alicia was getting older. You know, she picked him up from the spaceship and she was driving him back as she was getting older, as you know what old grandmas tend to do. They don't drive typically the best. And you can tell that Buzz was trying to take control of the wheel so that they wouldn't drive off the street. And then she just slaps him on the wrist, being like, stop, I got this, you know? But it was just a little funny little humor joke in that moment. But at the same time, you're like, damn, she's getting old. Like it's getting there, you know, and it's really sad. And while he's only aged like what, 20 minutes in that entire sequence? I didn't do the math, but something like that.
Yeah. So at the end of that montage, we only get a very brief moment to kind of sit in silence and grieve this loss with Buzz before Commander Burnside barges in, the new boss, who's telling Buzz, I'm shutting down the program, we're staying. And this sets off the next phase of Buzz's mission.
To be fair, I kind of understand we're going to stay here. Like, it sucks for Buzz. Totally sucks. But, like, you know, they've been there 60 some years now. Like, you know, when you start burying your dead there, you start to be like, you know what? Maybe we should just stay. Like,
yeah, I mean, they have that like force field.
That's what's new.
The whole community.
The laser
from, like,
shield.
The laser shield protecting from those weird looking spider bugs and the vines coming from underground. So like they're safe in that little area and everything. And you know, one thing that I noticed that before Buzz did the first mission, I started noticing they already built apartments and buildings for all of the workers to live there, and it's like, yeah, they've set up camp here for the long run, for the long haul.
All his trips were for Vane then. Like, and if I was Buzz, I also would be like, no, guys, I know you think it's impossible. We're this close. Like, trust me. And so one character we left out is Buzz is
Therapy Cat.
It's a robot. Socks is, you know, a character you think is going to be just like the lovable, goofy sidekick, helpful, what have you. And that's exactly what Socks is. He delivers, baby. I love Socks.
Socks was so cute.
Yeah.
We are happy to announce that Buzz is a cat lady. He is a cat dad, whether he likes it or not. And he didn't at first. So I thought that was a really cute addition to the story.
So Socks is voiced by Peter Sohn, not a name I expect you to recognize, but he is, I love the inclusion of this voice actor because he's not really a voice actor. He's actually a Pixar story artist. He directed The Good Dinosaur, but he's also done a bit of voice acting for Pixar. He had a small role in his own movie, The Good Dinosaur. He plays Remy's brother in Ratatouille, and more recently played Chicho in Luca. So this guy is on a roll. This guy is multi-talented, for sure.
His roles seem to be getting bigger each time.
His IMDb is beefing up.
One thing I will say about this movie, with the inclusion of Socks, this is very much a movie made to sell merchandise. I was at Kohl's earlier today, or maybe yesterday, and there's already Buzz Lightyear action figures all over the place. Like, this movie, while good in its own right as a movie, I think does well for something that could very easily have been a cheap cash grab. This is a fantastic movie, and I would watch more of this franchise. But yeah, that sucks. it's important that Socks is introduced during the montage because while they're testing, he starts running calculations after the first test to figure out crystallic fusion. And by the last test, when Buzz says the program's over, Socks says, I've actually solved the equation.
Took him 62 years too.
Mhm. Now Buzz has to figure out a way to finish the test, but the program is shut down. So what does he do?
Yeah. He goes rogue, just
He
like
goes
Captain America
rogue.
would.
Just like,
he says,
oh my God, yeah.
it's just like Captain America would. If the man is saying no, but you know what's right, you stick it to the man and you fucking do what you got to do. So he goes and creates the new antidote. I think it's important they lose the recipe in this process. So he makes one. What, Evan? You're making a face.
Go ahead. No,
Okay. So they make the perfect jet fuel and they steal a ship. They run and steal a ship. And I just love this scene because I'm not kidding. Like, in most, Disney movies, you're like, oh, this is going to work out. There's so many points in this movie where I was like, oh my God, this is not going to work out for him. So like when he's trying to steal this ship and they are all like bum rushing him and like he's like, oh, just cleaning. It's the cleaning people. Like they're like, what? Did we authorize a cleaning? They're like, no. And so he gets the ship with the fuel, completes the test. He goes to hyperspeed. He does it. He gets to the correct speed. He comes landing down. He's thinking he's going to be greeted as a
Heroes
hero.
welcome.
Yeah, there's confetti in his ship.
Oh my God, that part was funny.
Such a great touch. Just these little things that didn't need to be in the movie that were so funny, but also did not detract from the plot. Like it didn't make it too cartoonish. So the confetti comes out, him and Socks are like, yeah. And instead of being greeted as heroes, they get greeted by like a angry robot assassin.
Robot overlords.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
Classic sci-fi trope. He jumped too far into the future now.
And so now, according to Wikipedia, 22 years have passed now instead of the typical 4. So like even more time has passed.
Look at Socks go meow, 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 meow. 22.47 years.
Yeah, that's so cute. But then, in that time frame, the robots have taken over and not good.
Yes, any movie where you could say the robots have taken over, I'm in. I'll be honest. Love the premise.
It was funny too.
It's so good. And so if you remember back to the Toy Story things, these are like the villains. Like I think it's Toy Story 2 when they go to the toy store. These were like the other merch from the movie. Evan, what's funny about this movie is in the Toy Story universe, the movie was made to sell merch. And we're watching the movie about the merch. And now they were just like, all right, let's make that movie since we need to sell more merch. They were like, we know it'll sell merch.
It's smart.
It's meta. It's meta.
I mean, I'll admit, if this movie came out when I was 6 years old, I would 100,000% have a stuffed animal Socks.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? I'd want a Buzz Lightyear toy because they had lightsabers. Basically, that was the other thing I noticed is their swords, Evan, were just lightsabers. They were so cool. Yeah. And Disney, I love how Disney was just like, I mean, Star Wars can't sue us. Fuck it. We'll just make them just like lightsabers.
Yeah. So, love this movie. Here's one of my qualms. I had this thought while I was watching the movie. They lose the formula to the crystallic fusion cell. There were like maybe 3 variables to it. Like I feel like I know 2 of them. Like just after having watched it, it was like 0.41
60%
of blue,
orange. Yeah,
and then it was like 0.7 something of the other one. That's got to shave off 40 years of testing right there. Rerun the numbers, Socks. Come on.
That shaves off 40 years. Just knowing 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
You're like, I've saved them 2/3 of the process. That's
that part was funny.
It's a plot device to say this is the last of the hyperfuel. He comes back. Fucking robots are on his ass. They're like, get Buzz. All the robots say is Zerg. They have sick teleportation technology. They attach a little tag to it, press a button, zoop, gone. Amazing. And just like any classic sci-fi thing, they introduce it casually and it becomes like a plot device later. It's so, I'm telling you, they took so many great sci-fi tropes. They would like just shove it in this movie's throat. So we get back, he gets saved by people in armor. We don't really know who they are at the moment, but he gets rescued. And this is where we meet Keke Palmer's character, who
Izzy Hawthorne.
After much reflection, I think is my favorite character. I really like Izzy. I like Izzy's part in the story.
She was
and
great.
I like the arc that she goes through herself. Obviously, I love Buzz. You know, you could make an argument that he's obviously my favorite character, but Izzy was very much up there. Like I said, I really like her part in the story.
He needed Izzy. He needed someone like Izzy to, you know, for this story arc, and for this mission that he was still set to complete. It's like he needed someone like Izzy on his team to work with, because he always had such a problem with the rookies, and he soon realizes that she herself, yes, she's Alicia's granddaughter. Like, whoa, that is a cool surprise, because when she was a little girl in Alicia's hologram video that she left for him before she passed, she was like, I want to be just like you when I'm older. And I want to be just like Buzz.
Yeah.
You know, I want to meet him. And then you find out she's just kind of a little dork. She's not good. She's not living up to the standard that her grandma was. And she kind of doesn't really let it affect her too much.
She's like
a
a junior trainee. He's like, oh, so you're a cadet? And she's like, well, below that.
Working up to it.
Yeah, they're working up to it.
She's like, oh, that would be a cool title to get.
He goes, we come here once a month and train. I was like, once a month? I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, and then so basically Buzz is stuck with the group of the misfits. So during this, when we also meet the other characters, Mo Morrison, Taika Waititi voices him.
Okay, Evan, did you recognize his voice in theater?
Immediately.
Yeah, I was like immediate, but I like talked myself out of it for a second.
It's one of 4 New Zealanders. It sounds like Taika Waititi.
Yeah. I was like, who is this? And then I'm like, oh wait, yes, Taika Waititi. Of course they would get him for this. Great.
Holy shit, that guy is just getting payrolled by Disney though. He's making a new Star Wars film. He makes
Thor: Love and Thunder comes out next month.
Thor: Love and Thunder. This dude is like just making bank right now. I love him too.
I love that he was also just the voice actor for this character, because he's a director, he's a screenwriter, he's a producer as well, but here he was just the actor.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
He was just a voice actor.
Yeah.
Darby's the last one. Darby's an elderly woman convict who Buzz often refers to as a convict.
Yes. And she often makes that joke throughout the rest of the movie. She's like, my parole officer is not going to be happy to hear that I've been operating with a gun or something like that, or I'm going to violate my parole by doing this.
So great is they go the whole movie poking jokes at it, and then at the very end when they steal like a spaceship from the government or whatever, they're leaving, and he goes, you know, I never found out, what were you in jail for in the first place? She's like, stealing a ship. And I was like, such good writing. That's so good.
They were great comic reliefs throughout all of this, because one, Taika Waititi's character, he's so naive. He doesn't know how to do anything. He doesn't even know how to hold a gun.
He doesn't really want to be there.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, I'm just here for a volunteer program. He said he thought it was a workout class at first.
That's such a great, he goes, I kind of thought it was a workout class.
It's so funny. And then Darby being the ex-convict and everything, and she's like, I just want to, I'm doing this because my parole officer told me that
I think our parole officer made her.
Like, it was like a volunteer kind of program.
Because I get volunteer hours for doing it.
My favorite bit of characterization for any of them is the fact that Izzy Hawthorne is afraid of space, which comes into play in the plot later.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Her greatest aspiration in life is to be a space ranger, and she's afraid of space.
But so, like, no. But think of, like, the brilliance of this. Once again, it's a great sci-fi element to tell a story over time. And this had so many show, don't tell moments of that. So think about it, like, all of the people that started on this planet were traveling through space for so many years. None of them had any sort of fear of space. but Izzy's like 3 generations removed from that. And so she's lived her whole life on this planet. That's all she knows. Space to her is like what space to us is now.
Yeah.
Where Buzz was like, I grew up in space. Like, what do you mean? Like, space is the tits. How do you not love space? And she's like, I'm scared of it. And it plays a great part in the plot too.
And also, would you guys be scared of space too? Because I was watching this and I'm like, during that scene where she's in space for the first time,
Short answer is fuck yeah.
I would be scared too. I mean, do you fall up or down?
That's
whichever way you
he's
go.
like, don't look up
that's
or
scary.
down. Yeah, it was crazy. This was Interstellar for a children's audience. They also just summed up the movie Gravity digestible for a children's audience.
Yes.
He was like, whatever direction you push off in is the direction you are going to move forever. And I was just like, oh my God, I have a pit in my stomach right now.
Like, just thinking about that really sends you into an existential crisis.
Yeah. As much as I would love to go to space, yeah, I'd be terrified. But it's got to be part of the excitement, I imagine. Like, I don't know, like a roller coaster is fun because you're scared type deal. But
Do you think they wear diapers in the spaces? Don't NASA people wear diapers?
oh, Buzz Lightyear's suit has a diaper in there. You think he's taking that thing off to poo and pee?
I mean, it's just going to go all over the place.
Yeah.
Zero gravity diaper. Ew.
When you said that, it just reminded me of this fact that I read somewhere that when Sally Ride was getting ready to be the first woman into space and NASA gave her 100 tampons because they didn't know how many she would need up there, which is hilarious because I think it was like a 10-day mission or something. I don't even know. Originally, like 100
I was going to say, well,
tampons.
how long was her mission for? I was thinking it might be a couple months. I don't know. And then
No, it was just a little, like
10-day
a
mission.
very,
They're like,
very
"Here's
short amount of
100
time.
tampons, just in case.
100 tampons. So
That's funny.
yeah. Yeah, there was a whole TikTok sound just about it. So
But yeah, you definitely know Mo, Taika Waititi's character, was peeing his pants several times. You bet your ass there was a diaper on his thing.
I mean, he was mostly amused with the fact that his spacesuit had a pen in it.
Such a great gag. And you know what?
Yeah.
It was
Such a great gag.
just frequent enough that I felt like it wasn't overdone, but I don't know, it was still funny.
Yeah, it was one of those things. He mentions it a few times. They're like, okay, I wonder how this is going to pay off. And then at the end it does. And it's like, oh, I enjoyed that. I'm happy.
It had a payoff at the end,
That
but the
came
best
full
is
circle.
when they get the classic Buzz suit. It's green and white and purple, and they're like walking down, and they're
Chills.
like, "Wow, such great, nice suits." And he goes, "Could use a pen." That was the best payoff of the bit. Was when he goes, "Could use a pen," and I was like, "Yes!" I was like, I was the guy in our theater who belly laughed.
Can we first pause and take a moment to acknowledge that the first time Buzz came on screen wearing that iconic spacesuit, chills, literal chills, like that's all
great
we've known him as. And he was wearing other outfits, other space outfits, or just regular Earth clothes, I guess, throughout the film. But when he's in that spacesuit, you see him, and it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's what we know him as, and it was pretty jarring in a great way that to see him in that outfit.
They have some of the dialogue callbacks to the Toy Story movies too, but one thing I really noticed immediately in that first scene when he says that there seems to be no signs of intelligent life, he's also like, darting around, tumbling, very much like the action figure Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story originally did. And so that immediately drew me back. It's like, okay, these are very much the same character. It's not overt. It's not going to be Spider-Man No Way Home. Peter. It's just like, it's just enough for the people who grow up with it to get it if they're, actually paying attention. And for anyone else who's complaining, screw you. You're dumb.
I got a question for you guys. Do you think people would have loved it if Zurg, just spoilers, the big twist we find out eventually is that Zurg is just old man Buzz Lightyear, which is amazing. So I don't want to gloss over that. But do you think people would have lost their shit if it was Tim Allen that was old man Buzz?
I think some people I've read on Twitter wanted Tim Allen or said it was a missed opportunity. But whatever.
That would have been pretty cool.
Might have taken me out of it for a minute. And the people who were
Yeah.
questioning it and confused really would have been confused. They were like, wait, so the Buzz Lightyear toy in Andy's room grew up to be that robot? And they're like, no!
You know, that's probably the exact reason why they didn't have Tim Allen do that.
People are dumb. You know what? Disney's last 5 to 10 years can be summed up. They're like, our audience is dumb. They really spoon feed a lot of stuff. And so I guess that is one of the things I really liked about this movie is the high sci-fi element of it. They don't spend a lot of time. They just kind of throw it in there. They do it. And I feel like they really nail it. And this is one of the few Disney movies where I felt like they didn't think their audience was like completely stupid.
Yeah, even though they do explicitly say at the beginning of the film in 1995,
There was
Andy got a
disclaimer.
toy for like Andy got a toy for his birthday. His name was Buzz Lightyear, and it was based on a movie. This is that movie.
How much simpler can it get?
I wish they didn't have that, to be honest. I was like, God damn, who is this for?
Yeah, like, they probably added that in like later.
After test
You
screenings.
know, there was a lot of debate about it. Someone was like, hell no, it ruins the artistic integrity. And then some Disney exec was like, you don't have a fucking choice. It's going in.
Like, you have to do this.
Walt Disney himself didn't understand it, so we have to put it in so he gets it.
Well, there was a viral Twitter post that I saw where it was this poster at this movie theater. I don't know where the movie theater was, but it said on the post where it said Lightyear, the movie, is not based off of the Toy Story characters. It is an entirely different film on its own.
Oh
Like,
my God.
do not get mad at us. Like, you know, or it was something like that.
Oh,
like, this
yeah.
poor old movie theater had to make a disclaimer
Who's
for
getting
themselves
mad
because
about that? Oh my God.
like they probably had people complaining, like, what is wrong with everybody? Like, oh my God.
Like, what is this
it's
movie?
just-
Thought it was Toy
Yeah.
Story 5. That's what people thought. They thought it was
probably
Toy
what they
Story
thought.
5. All right, this is good, but I do want to get back to a little bit of the plot so we can hit some of the good beats. Izzy and the band of misfits, and now Buzz, Operation Crash the Party.
And Socks.
Can't leave out Socks, excuse me. They are going to crash a ship into Zurg's ship. I believe that's their whole plan. I could be wrong, but it's very haphazard. You know, Buzz thinks he's got this elite team. He finds out they're all his worst nightmare. Rookies. And so, yeah, they're
worse
rookies.
than rookies.
Yeah, they're worse than rookies. We went over that. I think that for me, one of the best things is these guys were very much like comedic relief, but at the same time, they add so much to the plot and just like the general feel for the movie. The casual slice of life, like when they get the sandwiches, the meat sandwiches, and it's meat, bread, meat. And he goes, what is this? He's like, this isn't a sandwich. They're like, yeah, it is. He goes, no, a sandwich is bread, meat, bread. And they're like,
Too much
what are you
bread.
talking about? And he goes, your hands are all slippy. And they're like, yeah, it's the after juice. It's the best part when you get to lick your fingers. And it's just such a great reminder of how much time's passed. They now have a whole life here. I'm assuming Buzz and all of them came from Earth originally. And he's like, wow, they don't have the same life. Would you guys like a sandwich like that, you think?
Absolutely not.
I'm weird about like things being residue on my fingers. Yeah.
If my fingers didn't get wet, I may be into the extra meat. But yeah, like you guys said, the fingers getting wet is kind of a deal breaker for me.
Especially in a world of COVID where maybe you realize as you're taking a bite, maybe I didn't wash my hands before eating this, like, or like how, you know, is it supposed to sit in a bag the entire time?
It was in like a little box. And I love it when he goes to the vending machine, he types it in and he gets the sandwiches. And then as soon as he leaves, it just falls off like this totally destroyed cliff that they're on.
I did love his first astronaut meal. It was just like a giant triangle shaped piece of ham.
Yeah.
This movie made me pretty hungry for unappetizing astronaut meals. I really wanted to try all of it. I would eat it.
The triangle one was good.
It looks like it probably would have tasted like bologna. I don't know.
Mhm. Like a Spam type deal. Yeah, it looked good though.
Yeah.
Evan loves Spam. I'm gonna put you on blast. Evan really likes Spam.
Oh, dude, it's fantastic. It's
I'm gonna put myself on blast here. I have never tried Spam, so I don't
I'll
know.
make you some spam
what
musubi
tastes like.
sometime when I come visit.
I remember the first time I saw Evan eat Spam, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, "What? People actually buy and eat it?" Evan's like, "Yeah, I like Spam." I was like, "What?"
So the middle chunk of this movie is them trying
Fast
to.
paced action.
It's a lot of action set pieces. There's the mining rig. There is the volcanic valley. There's a couple other I'm sure I'm forgetting. But it all leads up to their big confrontation, or Buzz's big confrontation with Zurg. We talked about the twist earlier. That it turns out Zurg is just Buzz himself from the future. This is another great sci-fi trope that I love.
Another great sci-fi trope, dude.
My jaw hit the floor. I was like, what?
So in Toy Story 2, they make the classic joke. Zurg at one point goes, "Buzz, I am your father." And so when he was unveiling himself, I was like, oh, wait, this is going to be his dad. And he goes, "Dad?" He goes, "No, but I get why you think that." And I was like, oh, it was a classic
reference.
pull from under the rug type deal. It really, my expectations in that moment were one thing, and they totally subverted it in the best way. I was so happy with this twist because it's just like, oh, it's such a not to I can't even spoil it. It's like this classic time travel show that I've seen. I'm not going to say it here.
Yeah.
I will recommend it at a different random time when no one's ever thinking about it. But that's like the big twist in the end, is that an older version of himself was the villain all along. And you're just like, no, what? How? It's so good. Don't try to guess. It's
Is it
spoilers.
newer?
I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to
Is
spoil
it
it.
like a series that's currently going on?
No.
Who would you be spoiling it for?
Anyone that picks it up randomly one day, because it's not how the show starts, if that makes sense. It
Okay.
starts in one direction. And so if you started the show, if I just told you right now and ruined the twist, you would start the show and I mean, there's no reason to watch the show if I had told you. So I'm not going to
This
spoil
is going to
it.
bug me for the rest of the podcast. I'm just going to be trying to think of what it could
You can
be.
edit this out. You can edit this out.
Okay.
You lost me here. I
Yeah,
don't
sorry.
even
You can
know.
edit this all out. So, Old Man Buzz is such a great twist because it shows how once again, it's a story told over a long time period. We have our version of Buzz who skips a long time, and then we get Old Man Buzz who's even older and he's been in the future, and it shows our Buzz how he became consumed by his mistake to and complete the mission at all costs. He's like,
no matter what.
no matter what. And Old Man Buzz's plan, I'm just going to go back in time and we're never going to go to this planet. And in my mind, I'll be honest, I was like, yeah, problem solved.
That's what he wanted all
I
along.
was like, yeah, this is great. But what we missed was there was this great scene between Buzz and Izzy where Buzz is like, I can't believe I let everyone down. Like I needed to get us back to our lives. He's like, I took Elisa's life away. And Izzy goes, no, you didn't. She had a whole life, family, like ups, downs. Like she lived a very full and happy life here, Buzz. You didn't let her down. Don't worry about it. And he realized, like, even though I wasn't here, even though I didn't live a life, a lot of life was lived on this planet. It took him a long time to realize, you know, there's the sign of the apartments. People have like settled down. There's the meat sandwiches. There's the different ways. There's like all these keys, you know, them abandoning the mission, them literally telling Buzz, you can't actually get much more direct than that. Literally they tell Buzz, hey, we want to stay here. Like we like it. And he still doesn't get the hint till way later. Like, oh, people live life here and that's okay.
Their lives would be completely uprooted at that point if they were to just leave.
It'd be wild for them to actually uproot and leave. It would probably cause like political discourse. You know what I mean? There'd be half the people like, no, fuck that. That was my parents' dream, not
'cause
mine.
They've created a society over there. Like people have lives. They're meeting loved ones. There are significant others. They're getting married. They're having children. There's people
so
like
much-
Darby who've been in prison. Like you know, there's bad shit going on over there too. Like they have a whole world. And Buzz, it doesn't take Buzz until close to the end to realize I've missed it. Like, I've missed this.
Because he was beating himself up for his own mistake.
Yes, all because he's like, I sacrificed so much for this, and I didn't realize how much I sacrificed until Izzy makes that comment to him. And he's like, damn, I want to be living this life, you know? I want to continue to be with everybody and build a future here because, this is the eventual settlement.
In a way, that's when he realizes his original mission was to find a planet that could, a habitable planet for human life. And he's just been too focused on fixing his own mistake to realize that they found it.
He couldn't get past his own mistake to realize that, he let great get in the way of good. You know what I mean? His pursuit for perfection and like redemption, he couldn't see.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? This is good enough. What we did, so good. Oh my God.
And I really want to transition this into, I don't know if you guys have noticed this. So in all of the trailers that they released for this film, Starman by David Bowie was the song that was played in all of those trailers. Starman, iconic because it is so symbolic because Buzz is a space ranger. He's a starman essentially himself. And it correlates so well with the lyrics in the chorus. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'll blow our minds, referencing the entire mission that Buzz was all set out to do in the first place. All of those years that he wasted in the sky being this starman. And like he was waiting for something to happen and for the mission to be complete. And he wanted to prove that he was worthwhile, which is basically what the entire song is about. And I also want to mention that Starman is on the album The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and Spiders from Mars. And that album celebrated its 50th anniversary on the day that the movie Lightyear came out.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Wow, yeah.
Is that a coincidence?
I wonder if that's why, if that explains the inclusion of the big spiders in the movie. Could be.
Yeah,
Could
maybe.
be.
Spiders on Mars.
I think David Bowie, who is one of my favorite artists of all time, had some kind of inspiration to the creation of this story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's a great piece of trivia. I was going to say, I don't want to brush over the fact that older Buzz, Emperor Zurg is voiced by not Josh Brolin, but James Brolin, who is Josh Brolin's father, who I recently found out starred in the original Westworld series.
Oh.
He's also married to Barbara Streisand.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Interesting.
How do you guys feel when you find out a famous actor is just the child of
Nepotism,
it?
baby.
Yeah,
You know,
it kind of
it
ruins
happens
Josh
so
Brolin
much-
for me. But I still love Josh Brolin.
Part of me, sometimes I don't really care. If they're a good actor in their own right, I don't really care. But a part of me does kind of feel, I guess I'll just say jealous, because they had some kind of in. I mean, that's life itself. You got to know someone to get an in, to get ahead. And I mean, if I had famous parents too in the entertainment business and I wanted to go into acting, why wouldn't I take advantage of that networking opportunity? Like, a lot of people look down on that. They like to hear the story of like someone who worked their way up and or they're self-made in their own right. But it helps to have some help.
I feel like the only people I don't really care about that with is the SARS guards. I'm just like, nepotism be damned. I want to see them all act.
How many are there?
There's 9. I don't know. No, Evan believed me for a second.
Or like, aren't there like 9 Wayans? There's like an empire of Wayans bros.
There could be.
Or cousins.
I mean,
or something.
Drew Barrymore came from the Barrymore family, which are a very famous group of folks from like way back. Are you kidding me? You don't know this?
No.
Drew Barrymore's family are old Hollywood.
Not 50 First Dates. I could never
Is that
watch again.
the movie it ruined for you?
Nepotism.
Oh my God.
God damn
That
it.
is a great movie. That's a great rom-com.
It's a low-key banger.
one of my
50 First Dates. Yeah, it's such an underrated classic. It's really bad though, because like Adam Sandler just gets off on the thrill of winning women over. Like he can't keep down a stable relationship, and he never really addresses that problem throughout the film. But other than that, the movie's fantastic.
Oh man.
Rant over.
If you've come from a famous acting family, maybe there's some kind of pressure in that to be like, I guess I should become an actor too.
Yeah.
My father did it, so I shall do it. To be or not to be.
Or my great great grandfather did it, and then all of the others did it after him, and I shall continue to do it.
Back to Buzz Lightyear. There's an epic. Yeah, we've gone so off the rails though. Let's finish up with Buzz Lightyear here because we are almost done. So there's an epic conclusion between Buzz and old Buzz where both Buzzes are on the same page for a moment. They're like, yeah, let's go back in time and fix this. Much like myself, I was like, they found the solution to their problems. But as Buzz is getting there, he's like, wait, that'll mean none of this ever happened? And he's like, if none of this ever happened, like that means Izzy would never exist. And he's like, he's like, I don't think I'm okay with that. Classic time travel conundrum. He's like, hold on. He's like, she lived a whole happy life here that, has all those millions of decisions have different ripples and outcomes. And that's why Izzy's here. And Izzy's like, oh, it's so good. And he's like, no.
She's such a great character.
I won't join you. And I like that he almost did because like I said, I also was fooled. I was like, yeah, perfect. Sounds good to me. And then old man Buzz becomes the villain once more. And Zurg tries to steal. I love it too because it's such a very easy plot through is the fuel is the time travel key. And the fuel is like what they're always, the whole quest is for the fuel throughout the whole film. It's just trading hands or at first it was like discovering it. And then the second half is like, it's trading hands and locations and who's getting it and why. And I just love it. It's easy to follow, but it was still very complex at the same time.
Nikki, what do you think of this last act? The showdown between Zurg and Buzz and Izzy infiltrating the base as well.
It plays on the trope that I see more common in films nowadays than ever, that the real villain sometimes is yourself. And Alex's eyes just
that's good.
opened
Yeah,
very wide.
I like it.
And I don't hate that trope, but I also don't love it. But I at the same time I didn't mind it in this film. Like the real villain was Buzz all along. Like he caused this, but then he kept on trying to achieve his goal, which again, don't stop until you get it. But to a certain extent, a line has to be drawn when you got to realize, you know what, it's okay to accept the fact that maybe it's just not going to work. And you just got to accept the circumstances that are given to you. In this case is being stuck on this planet forever, no matter what, even though the mission doesn't go the way you want it to, and then you just got to accept it and move on like everybody else did except
it
us.
Sounds so miserable, but they have figured out how to live there. We make fun of the laser shield, but the laser shield is very effective.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
Keeps
pretty
those
cool.
spider things out.
Yeah.
I would feel safe in the laser shield, right? Wouldn't you? Yeah. And so
I would.
And I'm sure they expanded on it to make it like a big city almost, It reminds me of in the Simpsons movie when
dome.
they had the dome and everything in their town. But yeah, it was a really great ending, and it was a crazy plot twist.
I like they did a really good job of explaining the time travel because I feel like that will always perplex an audience. But old man Buzz was like, this didn't happen to me. Like, this is all new. We're changing the future. And I was like, oh, okay, good to know. It's not like set in stone loop type deal.
Not like terrible.
Yeah.
He's not like a true supervillain, where
So
it's like
good.
someone you don't even know.
And it's so good because, like I said, it ties all these amazing threads of sci-fi, classic Disney humor, good action. There's a lot of like stunning visual shots. We need to talk about, so like Buzz and Zurg are fighting and Izzy has to get across
Overcomes her
a
fear of space.
spacewalk. Yeah. To do it. And it's the scene we talked about earlier where he's like, you just push off and you're going to go in that direction forever. And so she does it. And she did it right. She did it
But she
technically.
almost lost socks in
She
the...
technically did it all right.
Yeah.
And because Buzz and Zurg's fighting, the ship moves like they hit a control. And so now Izzy is off course. And she barely fucking grabs onto something. And like you said, she almost loses socks. And she grabs him at the last minute.
I know. That part almost really gave me a heart attack because I was like, no, socks!
What
Like,
an
socks
no-brainer.
would have flown away forever. And oh, God. But thankfully she was able to save him, and then she went on to help Buzz defeat older Buzz, aka Zurg. But,
You know what? With
yeah.
these movies, much like Up, similar to this, when they have a death, even though it's not like a dramatic death, like an emotional death in the beginning, you do have this sense of like, is someone gonna die? Like throughout the film, you know what I mean? Like in
Yeah.
Up, there's
I was
several
ready to
times
say
I'm like,
goodbye to Socks for sure.
yeah, there's several times I'm like, is this kid about to die? Or like, is this bird about to die? You know what I mean? Because they have introduced the theme of death to you early that it's subconsciously you're like, oh my God, what if this doesn't work out? And so this is one of those moments where I was like, Izzy's toast. I was like, no way that she's going to be floating in space. And like that, I was like, that's terrible. I genuinely went to worst case scenario. I was like, all right, she's going to be floating in space forever. Bye, Izzy. That sucks. Her biggest fear, but she overcomes it, which is such a great scene because, like I said, once again, another one of those, like, now she's a space ranger. Like, it's just cool. She like achieved her dreams. There was like triumph there. It wasn't just like, she's like, I'm, Elisa's granddaughter. Like, I can do whatever. Like, there was like self-doubt. There's like, I'm scared of space.
Yeah, but then again, she still put on the suit and she's like, it has my name on
It's
it.
got
I
my
need to
name
live
on
up to
it.
its honor.
Ooh, loved that.
She has a really great arc of her own throughout the movie as the bright-eyed rookie. It's almost in a way like a buddy cop movie. Buzz
Yeah.
is the grizzled veteran. She's the wide-eyed rookie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Great casting to have her. I mean,
Yes.
also Keke Palmer is having a big summer because she's also the star in
Nope.
Jordan Peele's Nope. So, and then also she's in this.
Good for her.
Mm-hmm.
Keke Palmer's also a Survivor fan, so I support fully.
Is she?
Yeah.
Get her on the pod.
Yeah.
We love that. We love her. I would love to
I'm
talk
sure
to
she's
her
listened
about
to Xander last
everything.
week.
So they beat Zurg. What happens? He ends up drifting off in space, right?
Yeah, he ends
The
up
ship blows
suffering.
up.
The ship blows up. He goes into space. They come back down, and
Teleportation from that
classic
cool aspect
teleportation.
that
They bring
doing.
the sci-fi element back to it. And there was one thing, like you said, Evan. So the resolution is they were like, Buzz, you're like a traitor, a heresy, like you abandoned us, you're a war criminal. And they were like, but we're gonna make you leader of the Space Rangers. As like, what? You were just what?
Yeah.
You just listed off such a long rap sheet, and that's his punishment. Which, to be fair, I mean, I don't think he did anything wrong. But like the angry guy who was chasing him for a good part of the film, we never saw his change of heart. He was just like, you're the Space Rangers again. I love that they got to be like, because then I feel like it ties in the TV show from back in the day, Buzz Lightyear Space Rangers.
Question for you guys. We're just about at the end of the movie. Did you guys, one, know there were after credit scenes, and two, stick around for them?
Yeah, we stayed around for it.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
I missed
we
it.
stuck around for one of the three.
There are three.
Oh wait, there's three.
Yeah, let me
Yes.
tell you. So for me, I saw on Twitter someone go, oh, like couldn't believe Lightyear had a post-credit scene, let alone have three. So I instantly assumed it was a joke. I was like, there's no way. But in the sake of curiosity, I always, you could wait to the first batch of credits. You know what I mean? And they had the lame one where he just like is sitting there and then he's like, laser shield. And it works. And that was it. And I was like, damn it. I was like, I got played. So we left. Little did I know there was two more scenes after the credits. Do you know what they are, Evan? I know what they are if you don't.
I know what the last
have to
one
go
is.
see it
I
again.
don't know.
All
I
right.
forget what the second one is.
One of them's another joke one. I'm assuming you know the real one. I already forget the one that's a joke. It was another one that was like silly. And then the other one is it's Zurg floating in space like the robot. And then like his eyes light up red, implying
A sequel.
sequel.
I mean, if there's
Ready for
anything
this?
Disney loves, it's sequels.
Give me it.
More content.
Give me a sequel. I want it.
Yeah.
I want it 100%. Ready for this? I was talking with our good buddy,
Yeah,
Michael
I love
O'Rear, who runs the Star Wars podcast. I told him so much of this movie is what I look for in Star Wars that they just sometimes will not deliver. And O'Rear said this to me first. He goes, I'd rather be a space ranger than a Jedi right now. And I agree. Space rangers are badass. They got a lightsaber. They have blasters. This was such a cool movie. That's such an underrated part of a movie, but it was just cool.
I love the way they worked in the lore of Buzz Lightyear, the toys suit.
Mm-hmm.
So Buzz Lightyear's suit at the beginning of the movie doesn't have a laser, doesn't have the wings and the jetpack or whatever you want to call it.
Wings.
Oh my god! When he started flying, when the wings came out for the first time, I was like, oh my god, to infinity and beyond.
That was another jaw-dropping moment where you're just like, oh, I forgot about his goddamn wings.
I had the thought earlier in the movie. I was like, oh, I guess they're not going to give him wings. That would kind of be too easy of a plot device. It would be the birds in Lord of the Rings. Like, it's just too easy. So I gave up on it, forgot about it. Great payoff at the end. He has to eject from his ship before getting blown up. He ejects, and the back of the seat is the fucking jetpack with wings. And it's like,
and he
so late in the game, I was
tries
like, oh
to
my God.
stop their spaceship from crashing. What a goddamn hero. He's no longer Captain America. He's like Iron Man in this moment where he's like flying around the ship and he's like, I'll guide you. And then he like slowly guides them down to Earth. And then did you guys think he was going to get crushed between the ship and Earth? Because I thought he was going to, but he has like the most perfect fucking dismount. I was like, this man's a fucking G. This dude is like a space Indiana Jones, Luke Skywalker all rolled into one. He is just every cool action figure.
Lightyear.
He's goddamn Buzz Lightyear though.
Yeah. Iconic. That was so great. That dismount and everything and saving the ship so that all the misfits and Izzy and Socks can all be saved. And then they end up becoming their own little mission crew to take on other robots or space rangers and take on all the other robots or anything else that comes to disrupt their new planet. One thing I do want to touch on, which I guess that can also be kind of closing thoughts. I was reading an LA Times article earlier this afternoon, and it was talking about that Alicia actually, in earlier production versions of the script, she wasn't even a part of the movie. She was later added.
What?
This is a quote from the article. Although she marks a milestone for LGBTQ inclusion in a Pixar film, there is more to Alicia Hawthorne. Besides being Buzz's commander and fellow space ranger and that kiss, she is revealed to be one of the reasons Buzz is able to become the hero he has the potential to be. And in earlier versions of the story, paired with Buzz was also going to be a fellow space ranger and pilot whom he was going to share a romantic relationship with. But that approach was scrapped. That approach was scrapped when earlier producers realized that they didn't think Buzz was going to be the kind of guy to work in a romantic relationship. And I'm so glad they went that route because one thing that we have not mentioned is that they did not give him a love interest in this film. He does not need one. I think he was great, perfectly paired with Alicia and her being gay. Love that. Also, it's Pride Month, so we love more LGBT representation here, and we need to see more of that. And I'm glad that Disney is taking a step and including that more in their films. I know Disney has their own reasons, or they're known to not really be going that direction. But in more recent Pixar films, you can see them being more accepting of it. And this is the film. I mean, they showed Alicia kiss her wife in the film, and it wasn't even shown as like a big deal. It's just you get home from a day at work. What do? You kiss your spouse. That's normal. Everybody does that. And it was so normalized. Like Buzz didn't even bat an eye about it either. And he was so happy when she's like, yeah, I'm engaged. I met this girl, blah, blah, blah. But I thought that was beautiful because in previous Disney movies and onward, they had that one gay character who was a very, very, very minor character. It was a police officer shown to be, I guess, giving off like a lesbian stereotype. And then before that, I remember Beauty and the Beast came out and a lot of people threw up hands because LeFou was gay. But come on, like it was very, very subtle in the film.
Fun fact, Evan played Gaston in our high school musical version of Beauty and the Beast.
I did.
Did you eat 24 eggs every morning?
No, I wore fake muscle pads and passed out during the first dress rehearsal.
Wait, you passed out in the muscle suit?
in the in the
Iconic,
dressing room, so-
though.
I didn't know that part.
Did the guy who played the Beast? I would laugh if the guy who played the Beast did not pass out in
didn't.
that suit, but you did.
Evan was
It was
excited.
hot,
He
man.
didn't hydrate that day.
Yeah. I did
Yeah,
not.
but anyways, I'm really happy that the queer world is being represented more in Disney and Pixar films. And if people want to be mad about it, they can be mad about it. Just don't go see the fucking film. And like
No,
it's easy as
go
that.
see
And
it.
also, this is, or yeah, still go see it.
Mhm.
You'll see
But
it.
don't make a
It was
huge
not a
deal
big
about
deal,
it.
I
Like, who
promise.
fucking care? Yeah.
It was so casual. We didn't even bring it up till the end of this movie. You know what I mean? Or excuse me,
Yeah.
the end of the
Yeah.
podcast. And
Yeah.
you're right. It is important representation. And it is an important marking for Disney because they are so slow dragging their heels with this. They're
Yep.
always sometimes cutting something or whatever for their foreign audiences.
I mean, this film is banned
Mhm.
in Malaysia and the UAE.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say is, you know what? And so this is one of the few times where Disney was like, no, sorry, fuck you. We're not taking this
keeping
out
this,
to
yeah.
appease everyone. And
Mhm.
so it is important to me, you know, that this gets out, but they are just so slow at dragging their feet. So I guess something is
Yeah.
better than nothing, but come on, Disney. I feel like you could do better at this point, but you know,
I mean, Alicia was a main. Well, I wouldn't say she was a main character, but she was
a
a
main
main
character.
important part of the story. Yeah, even though she did die, like within the first half hour.
Her
I wanna say,
legacy
the
looms
first
large.
act. Yes, her legacy does live on for the rest of the film. So it was great that they made her queer. Whereas, I mean, I would love to see a Disney film one day where the absolute main character, main protagonist is queer as well. So,
yeah, come on, Disney.
come on, Disney, get your shit together.
Mhm.
Buzz could have been into dudes. Wouldn't have changed anything.
I'm glad that they didn't even really acknowledge
No
anything
romantic
about his
interest for
sexuality
him.
either.
You want to know why? Because he's married to the job.
He's married to the job.
If anything, do you guys think if there's sequels, do you think Izzy would be a romantic interest of his? And do you think
No.
that's weird?
No, they seem like they have like a brother sister relationship.
That would be like Captain America having the hots for Sharon Carter. Wait.
No, you're right though. That's why. That's probably the only reason I bring it up is they tried to at one point make him love interest of his old love interest niece,
Mhm.
and it was just like, ugh, not this. But so, yeah, I agree. I hope they don't go down that road. Yeah, I agree. It's more like
Yeah.
that'd be weird. It'd be really weird.
You know, it'd be cool if maybe they gave Izzy a love interest in the film, but with someone else. Buzz,
Mhm.
personally, I don't think he needs that. He's already a great character.
He's married to the job.
He's married to the job.
That's so true.
Space is his first love. No.
Yeah, space. You know, he does love space.
Yeah.
All right.
He does.
Let's.
He could just be a cat dad for the rest of his
Yeah,
life,
it
and that's
sucks.
it.
Mhm.
Socks is his one true love.
I think most of the backlash can be summed up to one, conservative homophobes.
Fuck you.
Two, the kind of people who complain about the Star Wars sequel trilogy, which is The Last Jedi, which was a fantastic movie. It's just like adults. It's adults. Kids will love this movie. There's nothing
They
to hate
should
about
love
this
this.
movie.
There's nothing to hate about this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's go into closing thoughts. I'm going to start us off because I'm feeling revved up right now.
Yeah.
This movie, honestly, 10 out of 10. Like, this is just such a classic
1000%,
film. Like,
I
it's like
agree.
an instant classic, in my opinion. As far as Disney Pixar goes, I confidently could rate this in like my top 3 Pixar films. From start to finish, it was like so enthralling, story-wise, visually, action-wise. It just delivered on so many levels. And the way they marketed it, I knew just the tip of the iceberg. There was so much story that was just untalked about before the movie came out, and it made it so much better, just unpeeling the layers of the onion back. And it made me cry at times at the beginning of the movie. And it was just emotional, and it had strong themes and metaphors throughout the whole movie that you can like easily track. But like I said, at the same time, this movie doesn't treat you like you're dumb. It will throw sci-fi at you and say keep up, but nothing like that it's going to leave you behind or leave you confused. Like, it's not Matthew McConaughey in the fifth dimension. Make me stay, Murph! Make me stay! Like, there's none of that. Like, yes, there's time travel, but I promise it's not confusing at all. This movie, like I said with Chip and Dale, if they are going to give me intellectual property I've already seen before, you got to make it something like this, fresh and unique, because this was a really good take on, this was a movie I didn't know I needed to see. Like, I wasn't asking for like any sort of Buzz Lightyear movie, but when I saw it, I was like, oh, it looks good. And then when I got there, I was just blown out of the water with what I got. And so I think it is a very pleasant surprise in that way.
Yeah.
I went in with decent expectations, but I was, blown out of the water with those. So go see this movie if you have not. Go see it again. It's a great date night. We had a great time. I got a pizza. Nikki got popcorn.
I got popcorn. That was my dinner.
Delicious.
We shared a Dr. Pepper. It was great. It was great.
Evan, what about you? We'll do your closing thoughts, and then we'll let Nikki wrap up.
Yeah. So this could have been a bad cash grab. It is still probably primarily designed to sell merch, and I'm okay with that. Because it's a great movie. And you know what this is? This is a great sci-fi primer of so many different awesome sci-fi tropes in a digestible vehicle with some life lessons along the way for a young audience. You get time travel, you get space, you get robot overlords.
Yeah.
You like all this fun stuff jam-packed.
There's lights
into this movie about a toy from a movie about a toy. You get nods to 2001: A Space Odyssey when he hits light speed and he goes into that weird grid space. You get
the tunnel.
It's like it felt like Interstellar to me at times. This tonally feels different than a lot of Pixar stuff. This is like a straight-on sci-fi adventure, but it still has the heart. It doesn't hit as hard as some of the all-time Pixar greats, but this is a worthwhile entry in their pantheon of movies. I would recommend it to anyone. If you love the Toy Story movies, check this
Even
movie
if you
out.
liked
It's
the Toy Story movies.
It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy it.
Same. Going off of what you both have said with my closing thoughts, I agree with everything. I was nodding my head the entire time, and I loved this film. I immediately turned, like I said earlier, to Alex and I said, this is the greatest Disney or Pixar film that has come out in recent years. And I'm going to say, I think the last time I felt that way after watching a Pixar film was probably Soul. And before that might have been Toy Story 4, just for nostalgic purposes. But there was a good mix of, time travel, all the basic stuff that you get in typical sci-fi films, like the time travel and also the comedy aspect to it. But also there was that nostalgic factor a little bit to it. There was a couple little references to the Toy Story franchise here and there, like the to Infinity and Beyond. Like, even during the film, I went up to Alex and I put my finger up like E.T. and I'm like, to Infinity and Beyond. Because it was just so, it was just so cute to see. I loved this film. I've already recommended it to literally everybody I know. I'm like, go see Lightyear. It is great. And also, but mainly because Buzz Lightyear is a cat dad. We love that. Because I'm a huge cat person myself. So I squealed with delight when they gave him the cat companion. But yeah, I loved the film. It was beautiful. It was great. People who want to shit on it, okay, I don't fucking care about your opinion. I loved it. And I'm sorry that you couldn't see the same thing that I did. It was a beautiful film. And Pixar really doesn't disappoint. Go see it not just because you loved Toy Story or you like Toy Story, or even if you didn't like Toy Story, or also if you just want a good animated film, to talk about at a podcast.
Great stuff.
Yeah, I think now's a good time for a segment called Two Dudes Read News. Alex, you got anything in the headlines recently?
Okay, so first thing is Paramount and Avatar Studios recently announced, we had talked about this, 3 animated Avatar films. They have released what those movies are going to be about and sort of a timeline.
Oh, okay.
So this is exciting to me. So 2024, you can expect a movie about Avatar Kyoshi, which is exciting. That's before Avatar Roku, and she's just all around a badass. She's like an Amazon woman, huge. 2025, we're getting a Zuko movie.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what it's about. It just says Zuko movie. Looks fucking lit. I'm excited. And then 2026, we're getting a movie about Korra, which is interesting because Korra has had 4 seasons, which is more than Aang had, and now she gets a movie?
True.
How does this happen? How did she get this community hashtag movement going?
I'm just really happy that this news about Avatar was not about the James Cameron Avatar because
Don't get us started
well, that's
about
another
it.
conversation.
We went off.
Yeah, that's another conversation for another day, but I'm not looking forward to those ones. But these ones I am.
Yeah. Evan, what do you got?
I only got one headline for you guys today. You know how Disney has been doing live action adaptations of some of their 90s
Yeah.
classics?
Some?
Yeah. Well, recently they did Aladdin a couple of years back. It was directed by Guy
I was
Ritchie.
making a joke. They're doing it on all of them.
Yes. Gotta feed the merch machine.
I just want to know when Little Mermaid's going to come out with.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot that. It's already in the works.
What's her face?
But
They have it in
this
the
is a
works.
brand new one.
That's been in the works
Oh.
for. That's been in the works for like
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Brand new
honestly.
one, Evan?
Anyways, go on.
Yeah, there's a new one that's been recently announced. Guy Ritchie, who directed a live action Aladdin, has signed on to do a live action version of Hercules, produced by the Russo
Oh.
brothers, who did Avengers Endgame.
Oh.
So that would be cool.
I love Hercules.
Wow. Oh, who do you think would be a great? Who do you think should play Hercules?
Me? No, I don't know.
Me.
Who's got the physique?
Or do you think maybe they might have like a nobody?
They did that. They did that with Aladdin, like a lesser known actor.
I got my answer.
What's your answer?
Chris Evans.
I think he's too old.
He might be
this
kind
point.
of old.
Yeah.
He might be too old for that.
All right, Nikki, who's your pick?
No one is coming to mind immediately, but I mean, just because we've been talking about Chris Evans for the past hour and a half, almost 2 hours, Chris Evans does come to mind, but I think he's a little bit too old to play this, so it might have to be someone in their 20s still, at least like by the time production starts.
Let Steve Harrington buff up and we'll give it to him.
Oh my God. Joe Keery, that would be amazing. But, you know, he has his deal with Netflix. I don't know if they're going to want to put him on for Disney. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe I don't know anything.
You have anyone, Evan? I still think Chris Evans is the best choice.
I had to look up his name. I forgot his name very briefly. I'd go with Lucas Hedges, who has done a lot of indie roles.
Oh, he is.
Fill me in.
Hercules is a ginger.
He is.
Yes. That would be good.
He recently played Shia LaBeouf in the Shia LaBeouf
What?
drama biopic Honey Boy. He plays like a fictionalized version of him.
He was
I
in
can picture who you're...
Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah.
Lady Bird.
Okay,
I think.
yeah,
Lady Bird.
yeah.
He's in some Wes Anderson
Boy
stuff.
Erased.
Yeah.
Okay, I can picture who you're saying. That's
yeah.
a good pick.
If he
I
put on
accept
some
that
muscle,
pick.
that'd be great. I think he's young enough.
I mean, is it going to be like true to like Hercules? Like, is it going to be like Timothy Chalamet, like skinny kid into muscular beefy dude? Because then
I sure
you
hope
should get
so.
Timothy Chalamet to do the first half.
Probably.
Yeah. So that's my one bit of news.
That is a good bit of news. That was the only one I had too. So I think that is going to do it here for Two Dudes Watch Cartoons. For more Two Dudes, please check out other episodes on Apple, Spotify, also now on YouTube. You can follow us at Two Dudes Watch Cartoons on Instagram and on TikTok. And you can follow at Two Dudes Watch on Twitter. Please, we've realized we've never really asked for these. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It would mean the world to us. Preferably 5 stars. That would be the ideal. But, you know,
That'd be ideal,
do
yeah.
what
I did.
Yeah, do what your heart is telling you to do. But we appreciate it all. And, you know, thanks for joining us again. And take care.
Thanks. We'll catch you next time.
Two dudes watch cartoons.